Danan, we've got some like negative Nancy's on the text line that say the Chiefs' offense looked great, but it was against a really crappy defense. What say you when you see the production this past Sunday?
So, yeah, I would say multiple things can be true at the same time. Yes, they were a wounded defense, not what we have become accustomed to seeing from the Baltimore Ravens. I even said that leading into that game. There's very few organizations in all of pro sports that you can attach an identity to that has been long-standing for decades. The Baltimore Ravens have been one of those.
Yep.
Defense has always been at a premium. But it's the nature of the beast in the NFL. I mean, nobody is going to feel sorry for us if one of our stars goes down or if multiple guys are out. There's still depth that has to be a factor, and guys get paid to play the game on defense, offense, special teams. So, I don't feel bad for the Ravens. I don't feel bad for getting a win. I just like the fact that, again, going back to that recipe you guys have always heard me say, you win at home, you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's literally one of the best ways to put yourself in a position to get to the promised land in February. And that's what we did. We accomplished that goal. We won a game at home. It's been the first game at home for a while, and we beat a team we're supposed to beat. And even if they were fully healthy, I still feel like we're the better football team. Now, whether the score would have been 37-20, really should have been 37-13, but 37-20.
Or 40-13.
I don't know that. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if the score would have been that had they been fully healthy, but I still feel like we would have won the game, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, you got the win. You don't apologize for who you play. It's not who you play sometimes. It's when you play them. You take advantage of it. You get the win, and you move along. And it really is. I think people are starting to realize around town and maybe even nationally, because they were so wrong about this team from the national perspective, Dane, and what difference one player can make in Xavier Worthy.
Well, if we didn't know going into the game, I think it's pretty darn clear what it was after the game. And I look at his numbers, but more importantly, I look at the other guys' numbers. You look at Travis Kelce, 5 catches on 5 targets. That had not been the case leading up to this game. So you got to give credit to Xavier Worthy. His presence on the field opens the door for other guys. I think the only 2 players that probably, or I should say 3 players that probably played to the same clip of what they played to leading into this game was Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Kareem Hunt, I guess. That's a stretch on Kareem, but in essence, I should say Tyquan Thornton was the 3rd guy. Those 3 guys were pretty consistent in their production leading into this game without Xavier Worthy, but you definitely can feel the presence of Xavier Worthy in the run game and the pass game and how it affects everybody else on the field. Now there's no total focus on Travis Kelce. There's no, we're going to go against your offense and we're going to challenge our DBs to go one-on-one with Hollywood Brown, one-on-one with Tyquan Thornton, one-on-one with Juju Smith-Schuster, and we're just going to double team Travis and see if you can make some noise. And that has not been the case. Now you have to respect every aspect from sideline to sideline and 40-plus yards down the field with Xavier Worthy in the lineup, and everybody else is going to have some production because of it. So it just goes to show how thin the margin is in regards to not just the parity in the NFL, but also when you add explosiveness as part of your arsenal, how things can change so drastically. And I'm here for it. And I just can't wait until we get to week 7 when we get Rashee Rice back in. Now that he can be a part of the meetings, still be a part of understanding the game plan. I mean, he's still young in his career. So to be around that facility, to be amped up, and the adrenaline and the anger or the frustration be building up to the time that he's literally marking on his calendar when he can step back on the field, I think it's going to be a special asset and just a presence that we're going to see from week 7 on, barring any other injuries.
Talking to Danan Hughes here on 96.5 The Fan. Danan, I want to give you some numbers here real quick. Week 1, 8. Week 2, 5. Week 3, 8. Week 4, 19. Those are Brashard Smith's snap counts over the first 4 weeks of the season. That 19 number, to me, is alarming because it says to me that they are starting to begin the phasing out process of maybe Pacheco. Is that maybe hyperbolic, or do you see that as well?
I wouldn't say it's phasing out. I just think it's phasing in of Brashard Smith. And I going into this game, at the kickoff, after the Ravens scored their touchdown, and the fact that Brashard Smith was not out there for the kickoff return unit told me right then. There was some whispers leading into the game that his snap count was going to be elevated, but once he was not present on that opening kickoff return unit, I said, okay, they must have some snaps really in mind for Brashard Smith and explosive plays. Now, he dropped a pass. He had some quality plays after that. But I feel like if you want some explosiveness in your offense, you insert a guy that can do that. Now, to the tune of how that will impact Isaiah Pacheco, I don't know. But I feel like there's a way that all three of those guys can flourish. Remember, Jerick McKinnon was a part of this offense. He got a bulk of plays. He had a package with regards to either third down production or in the red zone or in passing situations. Maybe Brashard Smith is going to assume that aspect of this offense. And again, if we are scoring points and we are leading by multiple scores, then you're going to see Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt get to eat as much as they want in the run game, because now you're just trying to take down the clock, keep the ball away from the opposing team, and utilize what we always call as the 4-minute offense, where everybody knows you're going to run the ball and you still can't stop it. That's kind of what we saw in this last game. And if we can put up 30-plus points a game and put teams on their heels just a bit, then I think everybody's going to be satisfied in the run game.
Danan Hughes, what point of the day on Sunday did you say, okay, Chris Jones is going to be here at this game today?
I think leading into the pregame, and Josh Klingler and I and Joshua Briscoe do the pregame show, and all the reports were about the security that was going to be there. There was even some fans. Josh had tweeted out about getting to the stadium, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little sarcasm there, and it was funny because there were fans that were actually tweeting back saying, I hope that he has escort. I hope that, of course he's going to have an escort from the airport. So I kind of felt like there was never a doubt. I will say the announcing of the defense and Chris Jones being the last player coming out of the tunnel, that there was a roar from the fans that was as loud as I've ever heard it, whether it's Patrick, whether it was Tyreek back in the day, whether it's been Travis or what have you. It was as loud as I had ever heard it. And I think that was kind of a nod to Chris Jones, what he was going through, condolences to his family, and then just feeling like, how cool is it when you are at your lowest that we have a star player that's still thinking about his team, still thinking about the Chiefs' kingdom, still putting his brothers first, even in, the most tumultuous time that he's going through emotionally, that he's still willing to navigate, to get back on the field, to entertain the fans, and to come through for his brotherhood. So I felt like the fans bought into it, and that's what makes Chiefs Kingdom so special, is that it's not just about the football on the field, but they recognize the big picture. So that was heartwarming to hear.
Yeah, we talked to Derek Johnson yesterday, and he said he had a similar situation. He had lost his father, and he said, he came back and played the game, I think, very shortly after, and said that it was his teammates that, you need in that situation. Have you ever had a situation like that when you were playing in your career? Were you, on the unfortunate part of that as well, where something happened catastrophically and you came back and played in the game because you needed that? You needed that pick-me-up, or you needed your brothers in armor to kind of be there for you?
Absolutely. It didn't happen to me at the professional level, but in college, actually, my second game starting ever in college as a redshirt freshman, we were playing Iowa State. My grandfather, who I was very, very close with throughout my life, had passed away right before the game. My parents, they only came to a few games in my career from New Jersey just because that's the only way they can make it happen. They were actually out in Iowa for the game, and I scored my first touchdown in that game. I was already an emotional player, but to be even heightened in that situation because of the passing of someone so close to me, you got to be around those that you know love you. Like sitting in a hotel room or sitting in your dorm room or your apartment or house is not going to do anything. Like you are just a well fine-tuned athlete. This is what you do. This is what your routine is. And when people in the regular world lose someone, what do you always say? Just get back to your routine. Just get through it the way you can emotionally. But the best thing is to be around family, to be around friends, to try to have some normalcy in your life. Well, for a professional athlete, that normalcy is on the football field or the basketball court. So I remember that vividly, and having a big play and my first touchdown of a record career at Iowa was probably just an opportunity to kind of have that last nod to my grandfather and dedicate it to him. So yeah, I've been in that position before, and there was no other place I would have rather have been than on the football field.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is, man. Danan, we appreciate the time as always. Great story there, and we'll get one in Jacksonville this week.
All right, guys. Monday Night Football. Let's get it.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.